Hey there guys, in today's video I am going to show you how to build this very simple and straightforward hanging PVC parrot stand. If you would like to have a hanging stand for your parrot, you don't have the floor space to it, this can be a wonderful option. So if that is something you guys are interested in seeing, you want to make sure to stick around because that's going to be coming up right after this. Guys, this is Jack over at Hi Redbird, where I am tirelessly working to find new ways to make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. Now, in today's video, I wanted to show you guys how to build a hanging PVC parrot stand. This is actually a special request from one of my friends. He has asked for a parrot stand for his new Quaker parrot. The problem is that the room that he wants to put it in doesn't have as much floor space for an elaborate floor model or tabletop parrot stand. So we're going to build a hanging model in this video so that he can then move that around for his bird. So there's a lot of other new places for his bird to interact. Now this is going to be for a Quaker parrot. This would be a great model to build for just about any sort of small parrot. So things like budgies, cockatiels, conures. So if you guys are interested in building something like that, let's go ahead, jump right into how we are going to put this together. All right, guys. Now the materials you're going to need for this are relatively straightforward. You are going to need some PVC pipe. I would say the smallest length you could buy in a store is going to be a 5-foot length of PVC pipe. That'll give you enough to do this project. We are going to end up needing 4 7-inch pieces of PVC pipe. We'll also need 2 3-inch pieces of PVC pipe. Here I am using some 3/4 inch Schedule 40 PVC pipe. For that I'm also going to need corresponding fittings. So I'm going to need 2 slip T fittings, again made for 3/4 inch PVC pipe, 1 3/4 inch elbow fitting, a slip fitting. They're also sometimes called a solvent fitting. You just want to make sure you don't have anything that has threads because that's just one more thing that you have to worry about. You're going to need a grand total of 4 end caps. 3 of them will be normal. 1 of them we will be drilling a hole into. You are going to need your PVC cutters in order to make the cutting of PVC much easier. You are going to need a pencil and a tape measure. You are going to need some PVC primer. That is what we are going to use to secure all of the PVC together. We are going to need a pair of pliers. We are going to need a drill bit that will work to put a hole in the top of that end cap. Now, in order to pick the size of your drill bit, you are going to need to take a look at a stainless steel eye bolt and a corresponding nylon threaded locking nut. You are going to need those as well. You want this drill bit to be bigger than the shaft of your eye bolt so that the eye bolt can fit into the PVC end cap, but you want it to be smaller than the nylon threaded locking nut so that it doesn't just fall through. So there's a variety of sizes you can use. Those are just the things you want to keep in mind. We are also going to be needing some vet wrap, a pair of scissors, and eventually we will be needing a drop cloth just to protect our work surface because the PVC primer can stain surfaces. Now this is a really small project, so for the purpose of this project, for a drop cloth, I am going to be using a trash bag. So it really is that simple. That's all you need. Now, if you have never measured and cut PVC pipe, it's very easy. I'm going to go ahead, use my tape measure, just get the appropriate measurement. We're going to pretend that I'm looking at what this measurement is. I'm going to go ahead, just make a mark. I'm using a number 2 pencil just to make that mark. Now, using a ratcheting PVC cutter, I'm going to go ahead, line the blade up with where I am making that cut, You want to go slow at this point because it is really easy for your hands to slide, for you to miss that mark. But as soon as you get that lined up where that blade is touching the PVC pipe, you can go ahead and you can see that it cuts through it very, very easily. All right, guys, now to build this hanging parrot stand, we are going to go ahead and start from the top down. So we're going to start with our 3/4 inch PVC slip end cap that already has a hole drilled into it. I am going to encourage you guys, just be careful when you are drilling into a PVC end cap. A lot of times they can have a curved surface at the end, which can just make it a little bit trickier. So make sure you take your time. We want to make sure that we stay safe. You can also sometimes find PVC end caps that do have a very nice flush end, and those are a lot easier to drill into. Now I am going to go ahead and take a stainless steel eye bolt and a nylon threaded locking nut. Those are going to be what we use to secure this toy. So I'm just going to fix the eye bolt onto that end cap, and then we're going to line up the nylon threaded locking nut. You can go ahead and give it a few turns by hand. One thing you will find, this can be a little bit tricky, but as soon as you have it on and in place, we're then just going to take our pliers, and I'm just going to go ahead, hold it onto the locking nut, and then just turn by the eye bolt. The eye bolt will give you a lot more to hold on to, so it's really, really easy to do this. Now you don't have to secure it all the way. You just make sure that it has a really good bite on the inside of it. That nylon threaded locking nut will keep this from coming loose as your bird is playing on this. Now to that end cap, I'm going to go ahead and attach one of our 7-inch pieces of PVC pipe. This is going to give us a good amount of space from the ceiling, so if you're using this for a small bird, it'll be a lot harder for them to reach up and chew up your ceiling, which a lot of people don't seem to appreciate. Now we're going to go ahead and take a PVC T fitting. This is a 3/4 inch slip fitting, and you want to go ahead and line that so that part of it will come out. That is going to be our first perch. So again, we'll do another piece of this 7-inch pipe, and we will do a PVC end cap there. Now we're going to use our 3-inch piece of PVC pipe. We're going to just keep working our way down. We're going to attach our T-fitting, but we don't want it to line up directly on top of each other, so make sure you give yourself a little bit of a turn. Pay attention to where you're wanting this to go. If you're going to want this to butt up directly to a wall, maybe you want to have that at a 90-degree angle, and so you can get that on 2 sides, so there's one side with no perch at all. Maybe you want to break it down in 2/3. It's completely up to you. Use what's going to be useful for your space. Just know that if you put those perches directly on top of each other like that, it's not going to be useful for the bird. But we're going to go ahead and give that a little bit of a turn. We're going to add that other piece of 7-inch PVC pipe, and again, just one more end cap. You can see these perches come together very, very easily. One more piece of the 3-inch PVC pipe. Since we are at the bottom of our stand, we are going to go ahead and we are going to add our PVC elbow fitting. That's also called a 90-degree fitting. Again, with all of these fittings, just make sure that they are the right size to correspond to the PVC pipe that you are using. But we're going to go ahead, add our last perch and our last end cap. Now at this point, you can just take a good look at what you have made, and if you are not happy with it, you can see that there is a lot of open space right here. I can go ahead and adjust this pretty easily. So just go ahead and get that lined up to be exactly how you want that. All right, guys, now you can usually push this PVC together, and as long as you push it together really hard for a small bird like this is meant for, it will hold up really well. It doesn't need any sort of solvent glue, anything like that. But if you have a bird that's very, very active, if they're going to be flying to it pretty hard, if you have multiple birds, you may want to go ahead and add a little bit of added security. So for that, I'm going to be using a PVC primer. So the good thing about a PVC primer is that it is essentially going to chemically bond the two pieces of PVC. It melts the outside of both the fitting and the pipe so that they meld together to become one piece of PVC effectively. The good news is that unlike glues or PVC cement, it doesn't leave a residue or a bead around each of those fittings, which might encourage your bird to try to pick at that, because obviously this is not something you're going to want your bird to eat. Now, I am going to recommend that you guys have a non-permeable drop cloth. The thing about the PVC primer, you can see that it is a purple color, the one that I am using. It will stain things like tables, chairs. If you use a fabric drop cloth, it can stain through that as well. And if you do something like this on your dining room table, as I tend to do, and you stain the dining room table, there's a very good chance you will get yelled at. So let's avoid that. So for this, it's really, really simple. All we're going to do is we're going to take our PVC primer. The good news is most of these will have an applicator brush built onto the cap. Now, I am going to recommend that you guys apply it to your fitting first. Now, the reason I say to do that, and I'm going to go ahead and just tap off that excess, is that if you set this pipe down, it would be directly touching the table. But with the fitting, since we are applying that primer to the inside of the fitting, you're not going to have as much trouble. Now, all we're going to do is we're going to push that together. And that'll hold very, very nicely. Here, I'll show you guys one more time. We'll do the same thing with the end cap. Again, just apply it to the inside of the cap. Apply it to the PVC pipe. And then push those together. And I do like to give it a little twist while I am doing that. That just ensures there's going to be great contact between the fitting and the PVC pipe. Now, since this is not a glue, we do not have to wait the same amount of time for this to cure. What I am going to recommend is that you still give this a few hours to fully dry. Once that is done, go ahead, take this over to your sink. You might want to take it, if you've built a absolutely large PVC structure, you may want to take it to your bathroom where you can just wash it down really well with dish soap and water. Make sure you get off any of that excess residue, because that's not going to be safe for your parrot. All right, guys, so once everything is secured the way that you want it, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of texture to our perches. That's going to make sure that your birds have a really easy way to hold on to this. So for that, I'm going to be using just some regular vet wrap. You can get this at most feed stores, most pet supply stores. This is absolutely incredible for parrot perches because it can add texture really, really easily. It doesn't use any adhesives. And the really nice thing is that once it gets dirty, you cut it off and replace it in a matter of minutes. And as we all know, trying to keep things clean around our parrots can be a little bit of a challenge. Now, in applying the vet wrap, we are going to apply this only to the parts that we want to make it easy for our birds to climb on. So that is going to be the perches. I am not going to be applying it to the shaft of the stand, which is going to be between this perch and the ceiling. I don't want to make it really easy for my bird to climb up to the ceiling, because if I do that, that's going to destroy the purpose of building this longer shaft on this stand so that the bird can't reach the ceiling. Now, all you need to do is get your PVC, or your vet wrap rather, started. This can be the hardest part of the entire process, but then just go ahead, wrap it on itself. Once you have it so that it's got a good bite on itself, you can then just continue to wrap the entire way around. Once you have the entirety that you want covered, just go ahead, take your scissors, luckily for you guys, you will not be trying to do this in front of a camera, so you don't have to try to get a good angle for people to see when you are making that cut. Go ahead, press that in to itself. Now this does adhere to itself, so I like to just go through, give it a good squeeze the entire way along that perch. But that's all you need to do. Just do all 3 of those perches and you will be done. All right, guys, so as you can see, this is incredibly simple to put together. You can get this together in a matter of minutes. Now we are just going to use a stainless steel quick link at the very top to secure that. Now you would just need to put in an eye bolt or a hook on your ceiling, on your wall. You would have the opportunity to hang this for your bird. You can see we have a lot of places where a bird could perch, and if you wanted to make this even more interactive, you could take the same thought that is behind the eye bolt at the top, the way that we secured that. You can add eye bolts to each and every one of those end caps on the perches. That'll give you the opportunity to hang parrot toys on this hanging stand as well. So I certainly hope that you guys have enjoyed this video for how to build a PVC hanging parrot stand. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like these videos, go ahead, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of this very fun content. And I hope to see you guys next time. Say thank you to my Patreon patrons for helping to make these videos possible. You can find out more by visiting Hi Red Bird on Patreon or clicking the link in the description section down below if you would like more information. Thanks!